You are standing in front of your bathroom mirror. You squeeze a dollop of mint-flavored chemical paste onto a plastic brush. You scrub for exactly 2 minutes because a medical association told you to, but what if you stopped? What if you lived in a world where toothpaste, dental floss, and professional cleaning simply did not exist? For roughly 300,000 years, this wasn't a terrifying hypothetical. This was every single morning for your prehistoric ancestors. And yet, when archaeologists look at the skulls of people who lived before the dawn of civilization, they find something deeply uncomfortable. Their teeth were often perfect. No cavities, no impacted wisdom teeth, and no modern decay. How is that possible? The answer is not that they ignored their mouths. The answer is that they cleaned them in ways that would make your modern dentist scream. Let's look at the evidence written directly into the ancient dental record. In 2014, archaeologist Karen Hardy at the Autonomous University of Barcelona led a groundbreaking study analyzing the fossilized dental plaque, or hardened mouth bacteria, of a 1.2 million-year-old human ancestor found at the Cima del Elefante site in Spain. When she looked under the microscope, she didn't just find ancient bacteria, she found tiny microfossils of wood crushed between the teeth. These weren't accidental splinters from eating. The wear patterns on the enamel showed deliberate, repetitive scraping. Your ancestors were using toothpicks over 1 million years ago. They would sit by the fire, select a small, flexible twig of willow or poplar, and carefully pick out trapped fiber from their last meal. Does that sound primitive to you? It shouldn't, because willow wood contains salicin, a natural chemical compound that is closely related to modern aspirin. By picking their teeth with willow twigs, early humans weren't just clearing debris, they were actively numbing their gums and killing harmful bacteria with natural medicine. But twigs were only the beginning of prehistoric oral care. As the centuries rolled on, the methods became significantly stranger. Imagine walking into a Paleolithic camp 15,000 years ago. You see a hunter sitting on a boulder, chewing intensely on something dark and fibrous. They are not eating, they are practicing oral hygiene. Archaeologists working at the Tafaralt cave site in Morocco discovered skeletal remains showing extensive evidence of dental care using wild plants. The researchers found that these ancient humans regularly chewed on the roots of specific herbs, particularly those high in essential oils and antimicrobial compounds. They would chew the root until the end frayed into a rough, fibrous brush. This is what anthropologists call a chew stick, a tool still used today in many traditional societies under the name miswak. You place the frayed end against your teeth and scrub the surface manually. It removes the sticky layer of bacteria we call plaque just as effectively as a modern nylon toothbrush. But your ancestors didn't stop at herbs. They noticed that certain minerals could scrub away the dark stains left by wood smoke and berries. They would take fine, powdery charcoal straight from the remains of their campfire and rub it directly onto their teeth with a wet finger. The carbon in the charcoal acted as a powerful abrasive, polishing the enamel and absorbing the foul odors of decaying meat. You might think charcoal toothpaste is a trendy modern invention sold in health food stores today. In reality, it is a routine piece of Stone Age hygiene that has been repurposed for your supermarket shelves. However, the history of dental care holds a massive, counterintuitive twist. For hundreds of thousands of years, humans maintained remarkably clean mouths using nothing but sticks, charcoal, and their own saliva. Then everything collapsed. Around 10,000 years ago, humans made a revolutionary choice. We stopped wandering, settled down in permanent villages, and invented agriculture. We cleared fields to grow massive crops of wheat, barley, and rice. On paper, it seemed like a triumph for human survival. In reality, it was an absolute catastrophe for the human mouth. Anthropologist Clark Spencer Larson at Ohio State University has spent decades documenting the skeletal transition from foraging to farming across the globe. His research reveals a dramatic, sudden spike in dental disease the exact moment a population adopts agriculture. Why did this happen? When you eat wild game, nuts, and fibrous tubers, your jaw has to work incredibly hard to chew the tough food. This intense physical exercise stimulates jawbone growth during childhood, creating a wide, spacious mouth where all 32 teeth can fit perfectly without crowding. Furthermore, a wild diet is extremely low in simple sugars. But the moment humans started farming, our diet became soft, mushy, and packed with starchy carbohydrates. The bacteria living in your mouth love carbohydrates. They consume the sugars from the wheat and produce a highly destructive acid as a waste product. This acid eats away at your enamel, creating the painful holes we call cavities. Because the agricultural food was so soft, human jaws stopped growing to their full genetic potential. Our mouths literally shrank over generations. This is the exact reason why you most likely had to pay a surgeon to rip your wisdom teeth out of your skull. Your teeth are still programmed for the wide jaw of a Paleolithic hunter. But your modern skull is simply too small to hold them. Agriculture turned the human mouth into a breeding ground for infection, and without modern medicine, a simple toothache could easily become a death sentence. How did our ancestors handle the agonizing pain of a rotten tooth before the invention of anesthesia? They resorted to extreme, terrifying measures. In 2015, a team of researchers led by Stefano Benazzi at the University of Bologna discovered a 14,000-year-old human skeleton in an Italian rock shelter. When they examined the individual's lower jaw, they found a massive cavity in one of the molars. But when they looked closer using scanning electron microscopes, they saw something extraordinary. The interior wall of the cavity was covered in micro scratches. Someone had taken a razor-sharp, microscopic flint tool and manually chipped away the decayed, infected black tissue inside the living person's tooth. It is the oldest evidence of dentistry ever discovered in human history. Imagine the sheer willpower required to sit perfectly still while a friend uses a sharp stone needle to scrape the inside of your exposed tooth nerve by the light of a campfire. There were no painkillers, there were no sterile wipes. There was only the raw, urgent necessity to scrape out the rot before the infection spread to the bloodstream and ended your life. In later Neolithic sites, researchers have even found tiny, perfect holes drilled into living human teeth using primitive bow drills tipped with flint. They would drill deep into the enamel to release the painful pressure of gases building up inside an abscessed tooth. This brings us to a strange modern mirror. You live in the most advanced era of human history. You have synthetic floss, electric brushes that vibrate thousands of times per minute, and fluoridated water designed to protect your enamel. Yet you still struggle with plaque, crowding, and decay. You view oral hygiene as a chore, a repetitive daily task designed to combat the constant threat of cavities. Your Paleolithic ancestors did not share this anxiety. They did not worry about cavities because their hunter-gatherer diet naturally kept their mouths perfectly balanced. Their toothpicks and chew sticks were not weapons used in a desperate war against decay. They were simple, rhythmic tools used to maintain a natural state of health that we have spent thousands of years trying to reclaim through chemistry. You stand in front of your bathroom mirror. You look at your reflection, hold your modern brush, and prepare to clean your teeth. The tools have changed completely, but the basic biological mouth you are trying to preserve is exactly the same one that chewed on willow twigs a million years ago.